Hello everyone, I Dr. Sayyida Sara welcome you all in this part of video where I will tell you about epithelium of respiratory system. In fact, I will describe the functional histology. I am saying this because cells of respiratory system, they are designed and trained by nature in so perfect way that they are doing their job that is assigned to them. And when you will know the job of a respiratory system that I have already told you in the first lecture of this series, you know the main function of respiratory system is gas exchange, mean it will provide oxygen to blood and will eliminate carbon dioxide. Besides this, it also acts as olfactory organ, you know this. So when you will come to know the histology, you will see these two jobs of respiratory system besides other are done by the cells of respiratory system in so perfect way that I can say just marvelous. And I believe at the end of this lecture you will also agree with me. So in this way, the epithelium of respiratory system, according to its function, it is of two type, and these two type are according to function or histological basis. And these, you know, these are the respiratory epithelium and olfactory epithelium. So here in this lecture, you don't have to forget that epithelium in most part of respiratory system, that is respiratory epithelium. And what this epithelium is, I will tell you shortly about it. But have you ever thought why the most of respiratory system is having respiratory epithelium and not olfactory? Of course, it's all because the main function of this respiratory system is gas exchange. So major part of respiratory system is designed histologically according to this function that this system is going to do. For exam point of view, I will say be more specific and remember this point throughout your life that I'm going to tell you right now, that most of the nasal cavity and the conducting portion of a respiratory system, again I'm saying most of nasal cavity and conducting division of a respiratory system, this is lined with a mucosa that is having respiratory epithelium. And for olfactory epithelium, nature have chosen a specific area, and that region mucous membrane that is covering that area is specialized. Why that is specialized? Because it have to perform a special function, and that special function, you know, is a function of olfaction, that is a spatial sense. So here it is very important to know where in a nose the epithelium is a spatial epithelium or it is specialized for a function of a olfaction. You have to remember this. So answer is a mucous membrane covering roof of nasal cavity, superior concha and upper part of a nasal septum. Again I am telling you, roof of nasal cavity, superior concha that is on lateral wall and upper part of nasal septum. In these area, epithelium is not respiratory. In fact, in these area, epithelium is olfactory. So you have seen there are just specific area where epithelium is olfactory, while in other whole part of nasal cavity, this is respiratory. So in this image, two shades are mentioned here, green and an orange shade. So you can observe most of nasal fossa or a nasal cavity is lined with the green, that is a respiratory mucosa and epithelium. This is shown over here as in green. So 95% of a respiratory mucosa is lined with respiratory epithelium. And remaining 5% is lined with olfactory epithelium that is going to cover roof of nasal cavity, superior concha and the upper part of a nasal septum. And this is shown here with orange color, you can see in this image. So first I will cover respiratory epithelium in this lecture. In next part I will cover olfactory. So if I make a slide of a nasal mucosa from conducting portion of a respiratory system, because you know this conducting part of a respiratory system is going to line this epithelium, then what I am going to see in this slide, what type of a cell will be there, we have to see all this. And most important point that you have to remember again is respiratory epithelium, its type. So it is ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium. In simple word, if I say ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium in most of nasal cavity and the conducting portion of a respiratory system is known as respiratory epithelium, it wouldn't be wrong. Being a medical doctor, it's very important to know the histological feature of this epithelium, that is pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium, what function this epithelium is going to do. So we have to see all this, what type of a cell are present there. Like we are having 5 finger, this respiratory epithelium you have to remember like a 5 major cell type this epithelium is having, and the name of these cell type are I'm going to tell you right now. So actually these 5 type of a cell, these are resting on a basement membrane, and this basement membrane is thick in respiratory epithelium. So cells of ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium or respiratory epithelium, these are basal cell, ciliated columnar cell, goblet cell, brush cell, and small granule cell. Now I will cover these cells one by one. First I will explain basal cell. You know, basal cells are parents of ciliated pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium, that is your respiratory epithelium. Although it's not mentioned in book, but I'm going to tell you so that things could be clear and easy for you. So why these are the parents of this epithelium? I'm going to say because basal cells are mitotically active stem cells, and they are progenitor cells, and they give rise to other epithelial cell type. So they represent 30% of this epithelium. They are also a major cell type besides other that I will tell you later on. So if I talk about the shape of these parents, what are their shape histologically? So if you are going to look them histologically, they are small and round in shape. So besides the basal cell, when we look into slide of ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium or a respiratory epithelium, we observe another most abundant cell, and these are ciliated columnar cells. As the name indicate, these cells are columnar in shape. At their apical surface of each cell, there will be 250 to 300 cilia. Now, again, I am saying apical surface of each cell. Individual cell is having 250 to 300 cilia. And that's why these cells are having name as ciliated columnar cells. So the function of these ciliated columnar cell that I will explain later on with the next cell that I am going to explain right now, and these cells are goblet cells. So these are also numerous and the predominant in some areas. Mean when you observe the respiratory epithelium, it's not necessary in all areas goblet cell will be abundant, but it can also happen, or it can also be a case that if you're going to focus some area, you are going to see lot of goblet cell in that focused area. So this is a schematic diagram of a goblet cell, and the goblet cells have a nuclei at their base that you can see here. I can also say this goblet cell have a basal nuclei, and the apical domain or a surface of these cell, it is filled by means of a granules of a mucin or glycoprotein. So in a simple words, I can say about goblet cell that these are mucus producing cells of respiratory epithelium. So as we can see a layer of mucus in this image that is produced by these goblet cells, so they produce layer of a mucus. So now I will show you an image of a simple and the electron microscope where you can observe these cells that I have discussed right now, that were the basal, ciliated columnar and the goblet cell. In this image, ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium, that is your respiratory epithelium, it's shown. And we can observe different cells in this image. And you can see these cells are resting on a thick basement membrane. And most abundant cell are ciliated columnar cell. You can also observe mucus producing cell, and you know mucus producing cell, these we are going to name as goblet cell. So this is an image of scanning electron microscope where we can observe numerous ciliated cell, and among these cells there are the goblet cell represented as G. In this image, an area or a region is focused on scanning electron microscope, and we can observe lot of goblet cell in this focused area. As I had told you that goblet cells are predominant or they are abundant in some areas. So area that is focused, they are more in that area. So we can also observe collections of a mucus in some cells and that is produced by them. So why these goblet cell produce mucus, and what's the function of this mucus, or what that mucus film will do? Because this respiratory epithelium is covering most of conducting part of respiratory system, you know this. So whenever we are going to inhale air, it also contains a dust particle. So what this layer of mucus that is produced by goblet cell, it will do, it will trap the airborne dust particles and the microorganisms. Now our respiratory system have trapped pathogen by means of this mucus, but how we are going to remove them? You know, here cilia comes in action and they helps along with the mucus cell in removing the trapped pathogen. Here what cilia are going to do, they continuously start moving, and this continuous ciliary movement, it propels the sheet of a mucus towards the pharynx for the elimination. So in this way microorganisms are cleared from that path. So in the start I also told you the air that reaches for the gas exchange, it's pure if our cells are perfectly functioning and there is a no disease process, as you have observed that how these cells are going to do this work in a perfect way. Besides the basal cell, ciliated columnar and a goblet cell that I explained, the respiratory epithelium also contains the other columnar cells, and these cells are brush cells and small granule cell. Both these cells are columnar and they only represent just 3% of the cells of respiratory epithelium. Now I will explain brush cell that are also named as tuft cell. So you can consider this brush cell as a small brush if you are having. So the base of this brush is going to represent this cell, and the end of brush are tufts of short microvilli that cover the apical surface of these cell. So the brush cell are much less numerous than the other cell that we have covered, that were columnar cell and the goblet and all other. So the apical surface bears the dispersed microvilli. Mean microvilli are at distance. They're not just like cilia itself are having 250 to 300 cilia. So these are having microvilli. You know, these columnar brush cells are very small cell. They are less in number. But when you are going to look them under a microscope or electron microscopy, they are doing a great job. And what job they are doing? They are the chemoreceptor cells. You know, these brush cells resemble with our taste cell, and they are involved in the signal transduction, release of neurotransmitter. Like our taste cell have a receptor to feel taste. Similarly, these brush cell or a tuft cell, these are cell, and they are so well trained by nature that they can identify potentially harmful substance, and they can detect a small particles of a bacterial proteins in an inspired air. Because when we breathe pathogen, they can be a gram-positive, gram-negative bacteria as well as the aeroallergens and the fungi, and they are present in inspired air, we know. So like a RB, these chemosensory brush cells, they are sitting in a ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium of upper and the lower respiratory airway. So here as the air enters, I will say they taste that air, and if they identify potentially harmful substance or a bacteria, they get stimulated. They start their firing on these pathogens, and what they are going to release in their firing? They release multiple molecules such as neurotransmitter, acetylcholine, cytokines, interleukins, and these neurotransmitter then acts as an autocrine or a paracrine gland, and they initiate immune response in our respiratory system. And whenever the immune response in our respiratory system is initiated, it also activates our immune cell like lymphoid cell. They also get active and they play a role in immunity, and they also play a role in clearing these pathogens. Last cells of the respiratory epithelium are small granule cell or Kulczynski cells. These are too small that they are difficult to distinguish on a routine preparation, but we can identify them on the basis of a numerous dense core granules that they are having, and these granules are 100 to 300 nanometer in their diameter, as their name indicates, granule cells. So they contain these small granules. Like enteroendocrine cells of a gut, they are also part of a diffuse neuroendocrine system. So now at end, I am going to summarize these histological features. I will summarize them from the content that is given in your reference book, and believe me, if you have listened this content that I described earlier, it will be very easy for you. So respiratory epithelium, you know, is a pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. This epithelium is having very thick basement membrane. This epithelium is having 5 type of cells, which are a basal cell, goblet cell, brush cell, small granule cell, and all of these are in contact with the basement membrane. So most abundant cell of this epithelium are ciliated columnar cell, and each cell is having 250 to 300 cilia at its apical surface. So it provides a lush cover of a cilia on a luminous surface of these cells. Beside columnar cell, there are the many rounded cell at the basement membrane, and these are parent of this epithelium, and these are stem cell, which together make up 30% of epithelium. We can also observe mucus-secreting goblet cell represented as G, and the interepithelial lymphocytes and the dendritic cell, which are also present in respiratory epithelium. Besides this point that is mentioned over here, but I have not described earlier, that the lamina propria of a pseudo-stratified ciliated columnar epithelium, it is well vascularized. It means whenever you are going to prepare slide in lamina propria of this epithelium, you will see rich blood supply. So lot of blood vessels will be there. So that was all about the respiratory epithelium, dear friends, its cell, their function. In next part, I will describe olfactory epithelium, its detail, how these cells are going to function. In fact, the functional histology I will cover. Until then, enjoy learning, be happy, keep watching and subscribing this channel. Just give your few seconds to hit on bell icon and like button. Thank you so much.